Rising Conversations, where we have deep intellectual conversation until we reach our destination. I am your host, Backpack Jeff, per usual. And you know this segment is going to be about me getting in my bag. Today we are headed out to Delaware to the juvenile detention centers to make sure that we are helping these students to transition efficiently into the next phase of their life by providing useful information, skills, and workshops, as well as group discussion, interactive activities, and much, much more. Today, I wanted to talk about a couple of different things. As you all know, I am reading this book, and the book that I'm reading is called Atomic Habits. And this idea about atomic habits, I think the title in and of itself sort of speaks for itself. Essentially, it's about making small incremental changes. And what happens over an extended period of time, but over an extended period of time, what you notice is ultimately you notice gain. I think they say the average gain in the stock market is about 10% every single year. So some years, yes, you will 100% be down, but other years you will likely be up, and that's where things will tend to balance out. And now that's even if just put your stuff in there, and you let it you let it compound on its own, as opposed to knowing what to invest in. So if you invest in a NASDAQ and the S&P 500, you're gonna get that. So I think that's what the Atomic Habits is. And so what I wanted to talk about was just this idea and this principle of atomic habits, and how important it is to make sure. Thank y'all so much for coming in. Make sure y'all hit that. Thank you for liking it. If you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. But so atomic habits, making these small incremental changes in our lives that last for an extended period of time. What is that? So one of the examples that they gave that I thought was absolutely amazing is that if you're flying from LA to New York, thank you so much, I appreciate that. If you're flying from LA to New York, if you change the degree of the airplane 3.5 degrees, which in turn, essentially, you change the nose of the airplane about 7.5 feet over a distance of the United States, you will literally travel not from LA to New York, but you will travel from LA to DC. You're from LA, that's what's up. But you'll travel from LA to DC as opposed to LA to New York, just by changing the nose of the plane 7.5 feet. Which, if you change that of a plane, you probably won't even notice the difference. You'll probably, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Christian. Thank you so much for the sub. Thank you. But you probably won't even notice the distance in that change in the airplane. You won't even notice the difference. But if you change that much over an extended period of time, you'll be 3 states down, because between New York and DC is New Jersey, it's Pennsylvania, it's Maryland, and then it's DC. So that's about 4 states difference just from changing the nose of a plane 7.5 feet. So they're talking about making these changes, and I'm saying to myself, like, man, imagine if we made small incremental changes in our lives, the lasting effect they could have over an extended period of time. Because if you're flying out of LAX, let's call it, you're not going to notice that change right away. You're not going to notice that change until you start getting into the middle of the country. Thank you so much, Carter. Appreciate the sub. Again, you're not going to notice that change until you get into about the middle of the country and once you start going in a different direction. Y'all, there's so many different things that we can do to make small incremental changes that could literally have a lasting effect over our whole entire lives. Happy birthday to you. We can make a lasting change just by changing one thing today. Just by changing one thing today. Change how we eat. Change how often we're active. We can change just by going to go get a standing desk as opposed to sitting all the time. I did a podcast with a physical trainer, a nutrition specialist as well. And one of the things that she said was, if you don't pay for it today, you're going to pay for it tomorrow. You may not pay for it now, but you're definitely going to pay for it later. And this made so much sense to me because what we understand is that eating healthy, eating good, all of these different things, they're very difficult to do them today because we may not have the money for it. We may not have access to it. All of those different things. There's a number of reasons why we can't do certain things today. But if you don't make those significant changes today, what'll happen is that so if you don't pay for those things today, what'll happen is you'll pay for those things in surgeries and appointments and medicine. And when she said that, it made so much sense to me. I was like, man, this lady is just like, I mean, she's a genius. I really just thought she was a genius. I was like, man, that makes so much sense. And so that matters in this example because, you know, all of the things that we want to do in our lives, they don't happen right away. There isn't a, you know, automatic change. When we go to the gym, we don't automatically look better and feel better. When you start learning how to ride a bike, you don't just get on a bike and all of a sudden just know how to ride that bike. You know, you don't know those things. And so, you know, what has to happen is you have to go through a learning process. Doesn't matter what you do, everything that you do, you have to go through a learning process and you have to go through a learning curve. But what I notice is that a lot of people are afraid of the learning curve. A lot of people are afraid of the learning process. We have to learn how to embrace the learning process because the better we get at learning, the simpler life gets. If we want to get better at learning, if we want to get better at life, we got to get better at the learning process because the better we are at that, the easier life will get. So we got to start making these small changes, these small effects in our habits. And what we will notice is that, you know, these changes will have a lasting effect on us, y'all. So I want us to start thinking about what those changes could be and how we can make those changes. I remember when I first started getting into the speaking, which was something that I had no idea that I even wanted to do until I started to hear other people in the speaking industry and the opportunities the speaking industry provided. I really didn't know. Thank y'all so much for coming in. Please make sure y'all hit that subscribe button for me. I would greatly appreciate it. Welcome into Car Rides and Conversations, where we have meaningful conversation until we reach our destination. Thank y'all so much for coming in. I appreciate every single last one of y'all. Thank y'all so much for staying in with us as well. If you choose to stay in, we greatly, greatly appreciate it. Right now, we are headed out to Delaware, to a juvenile detention center in Delaware, in order to pour back into the youth. We are headed out into Delaware. Okay. I'm reading this book, and one of the things that they say focus on, it says don't focus on your goals, focus on your systems. Don't focus on your goals, Focus on your systems. Because what happens is once you accomplish a goal, that's done. But a lot of times things revert back to the way they used to be because we never changed the system. And they provided an example of, imagine you have a goal to clean your room and all of a sudden you finally get the motivation to clean your room. And now I've got the motivation to clean my room, and thank gosh I've cleaned my room. I cleaned my room, y'all. I did it. But then in about 2 weeks, I start to notice that my room is dirty again. I'm starting to notice that my room is dirty again. And the reason being is because it's not because of the goal. I accomplished the goal once, but then I have to accomplish the goal again. I got to accomplish the goal again. But if you want to have, if you want to stop having to do a bulk clean of your room, as opposed to doing just micro cleans, what we got to do is we got to change the system in which we operate. So when we go into our room, we got to say we put our clothes up. We put our shoes up. We make sure we fold our towel. We don't put any clothes on the bed. We don't get in the bed with outside clothes on. We don't throw our clothes on the floor. We put them in a dirty clothes hamper. It's the reason why I keep losing my keys. I got a bad habit of just losing my keys. My wallet. I got a bad habit of losing my wallet. How many of y'all lost your wallet in the last 24 hours? In the last week? How many of y'all lost your wallet or your keys in the last week? I guarantee if you've lost them in the last week, you've lost them in the last month. And I guarantee if you lost them in the last week, in the last month, I guarantee you lost them in the last 3 months. And now it's become a habit for you to lose things. Yo, I had to change the way that I entered my home. I had to change the way I entered my home. Like I had to realize, like I couldn't continue to go into my home the same exact way. When I go in my house now, I immediately go for the key rack. And then and to get to the key rack, I gotta pass my desk. And so as I pass my desk, my wallet comes out of my pocket, goes onto my desk, my keys goes onto the key rack, and immediately I haven't lost my wallet or my keys. It's been like a month now. It's been like a month. And you know why? Because I'm changing the habit. I'm changing the habit. I've changed the habit, not just the goal. The goal is I don't want to lose my keys, or I need to find my keys. We need to change the goal to affect the system so that we can make sure that this isn't a continuous issue. Because for me, it was a continuous issue. It was a continuous problem. I mean, this problem was continuous. You hear me? I kept losing it. Kept losing my keys, kept losing my wallet, losing everything. And so now think about it. Think about this. You want to make change. You want to see things happen differently for you. You want to see a better life. You want to see things in your life get progressively better, but they can't get progressively better if we're not making the necessary changes that we need to make. And setting goals is absolutely great. Setting goals is great. And so I'm getting a whole different perspective on setting goals. Is that not only do you need to have a plan, you need to have a system to accompany your plan, which leads you towards your goal. So if you don't have a goal, chances are you don't have a plan. If you don't have a plan, chances are you don't have a system. So in your goal, what I'm doing now is I'm taking accountability to say, okay, I move, change the way I operate, because this thing that I'm doing is not working anymore. So now I'm looking at everything different. And y'all, I gotta say, like I'm extremely excited about this new shift because I think this is going to allow me to stay focused on the things that I know I need to do. Drinking more water every single day, reading every single day. And the more I drink water, the better I feel. The more I read, the smarter I become. The more information I have when I speak, the more knowledge I have when I teach. They all mean something. My goal ultimately is I want more speaking engagements. But how can I get more speaking engagements? If I don't want to do the same speech every time I go to a speaking event, a speaking opportunity. So what do I need to do? I need to make sure that I'm creating new speeches. How do I create new speeches? Well, I got to read more. I got to do more research. I got to have more conversations. I got to do more car rides and conversations. Even though I know I'm supposed to do this, I don't even do this. Even though I know I'm supposed to. Even though I know this is going to help my business. Even though I know this is going to help my brand. I still find it difficult to get on here and turn this on every single day. Why? Because I set the goal. I didn't change the system. So I'm going to talk about what that looks like. But you got to give me a second because I got to go into the stove. I'm going to let y'all listen to some music real quick. Actually, it's not going to be music because I don't want them to like flag this one as non-monetary wise. So I'm gonna do some loft music for y'all. Give me a second. I know they live. I'll just do like a little quick beat for y'all. Hold on, y'all. My bad. Had to go in and get something to drink. Thank y'all so much for coming in. Thank y'all so much for joining, man. Make sure y'all tap that subscribe button. Make sure y'all hit that like button as well. I appreciate every single last one of y'all. I cannot do this without your support. It absolutely means the world to me. You have no idea. Thank y'all so much. So we were talking about the systems, change your systems, focus on the system, not the goal. Man, what a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful analogy. Focus on the system, not goal. I remember thinking about, like, you know, what it meant to, like, you know, focus on what it meant to, like, focus on the system. I'm sorry, focus on a goal, and it just changed everything. So I definitely want to do more now with, like, focusing on how I operate as opposed to what I'm operating in. I think it's going to have a lasting effect. My thought process: don't go into 2020 if you haven't changed your bad habits from 2024. I'm gonna say that again. Don't go into 2025. Don't plan any goals for 2025 without changing your habits from 2024. Don't plan any goals for 2025 without getting rid of any negative habits from 2024. Because sometimes, truthfully, that's what we do. We try to set goals for the new year, go into the new year, realize we haven't changed at all, and then wonder why certain stuff not happening. Well, it's not happening because you didn't change. Your goals ain't going to happen just because you want them to happen. They're going to happen because you made them happen. And they're not going to happen if you don't make any change. So, if you want stuff to happen, for you in 2025, you got to change your habits. Put the old man in a new car, it's still going to drive the same. And the reason being is because you haven't changed the habits. You tried to change everything else, but you haven't changed the habits. You haven't changed the habits. So, what I'm doing is I'm changing my habits. I'm changing how I look at things. I'm changing how I operate. I'm changing small things every single day, planning out every single day, doing a to-do list every single day now. Because these are the things that I took for granted. Which is funny because they help me get to where I am, but I stopped doing them. Man, we get to where we are, achieve a little bit of success, then we start getting comfortable. Then we start saying, oh, I ain't got to work that hard no more. I'm just going to wait until they book me. I'm good. I've done enough. I'm going to wait until they book me because I see it working like that for other people. It'll definitely work like that for me. And just because it worked like that for other people, that don't mean it's going to work like that for you, boo-boo. That ain't what that means. You ain't put in the same type of hours them people put in. You not where they at. So it's not working for you right now for a reason. But if you want it to work for you, you can get it to work for you. You can get it to work for you, for sure. Y'all, man, I'm so excited about, you know, this next chapter, this next phase in my life and this next process that I'm going through, man, because it's just been such a beautiful journey. It's been such a beautiful journey, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to what life has to hold in the future, in the very near future as well. Like, that's the funny thing about it. The very near future. So I just wanted to jump on here and say, man, change your habits, change the small things, and the big things will take care of themselves. If you focus on practice, the games will take care of themselves. If you focus on technique, the practices will take care of themselves, the games will take care of themselves. If you focus on skills, the technique will take care of itself, the practice will take care of itself, and the game will take care of itself. You got to focus on these small little incremental things. And the more you focus on these things, the more everything else will start to work out. But you won't get what you're looking for if you don't start making those changes. So, with that being said, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, man. Thank y'all so much for joining me in this process, man. If you got backpacks, stay in your bag. Don't chase it.